time for this guy. Some Orvlovsky. Give me the keys, Danny. We got a good one. Monday Night Football at Cowboys-Chargers. OC Kellen Moore, who parted ways with Dallas this past offseason, will now face his former team. Yeah. Give me your key for this Cowboys-Chargers matchup. I'm excited about this game tonight.
Me too. I think it's going to be an awesome football game, and it's going to be the secondary for Dallas, mainly their safeties, how they defend the deep ball versus the Chargers offense. Now, this is a secondary that has had some good moments this year and some not good moments. And last week, coming off of what San Francisco and Brock Purdy offensively did to them, going against the Chargers football team that throws the ball down the field. Kellen Moore will know how to attack this defense schematically, and they got big play receivers, Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer, Justin Herbert's ability to drive and take shots downfield. That's the difference between the Chargers offense this year in comparison to last year. They are willing and capable of throwing it down the field. I want to see how that secondary, mainly those safeties in Dallas, defend the big ball from the Chargers.
Stephen A.
Well, look here. You keep talking about Dallas secondary. What about the Chargers secondary? They're 32nd in pass defense. They're going to have to stand up against Dak. But the Cowboys need to win this game to get that bad taste out of their mouth. They were embarrassed. That was a beatdown of epic proportion. And they had to go back to the dressing room. They had to go back home and question themselves. I don't care what anybody says. When you feel as good about yourself as the Cowboys felt about themselves coming into this game, and everybody was talking about the defense, and everybody was talking about how Dak looked, and you get demolished on national television like they did, there's some second guessing. The question is, can the Chargers offensive line, can they hold up against that pressure of the Cowboys? If they can, because we know what, and Cowboys, can you hold up against Khalil Mack? I don't think Bosa's going to play, but their secondary for the Chargers, they aren't very good.
All right, let's get into this game. Stephen A., I want to come to you. From what I understand, you will be in attendance. I'll let you tell us if that's true or not.
Yes, I'm in the house.
That's your story to tell. Okay, you're going to be in the house.
I will be in the house. I'll also be on NFL Countdown tonight. You know, I mean, and by the way, I might stand around and do what I did years ago. And I don't know if you remember this, Molly, but remember when Shannon, D.O., y'all remember when Dallas Cowboys lost that playoff game to the Los Angeles Rams at Coliseum? Do y'all remember that?
Yeah.
And so, you know, the Dallas Cowboys, you know, that nauseating, disgusting fan base that I can't stand. Well, I decided I was in a very nice mood. And so I knew a whole bunch of fans was going to be at the JW Marriott downtown.
Right.
And so I was in the lobby waiting for them. I'm like, don't y'all want pictures? I know y'all want pictures. They were running from me. They were running from me.
No pictures.
They were running. They were running. I mean, they were just running. And so I decided, you know what, rather than wait until you lose, let me get there before the loss today. And so I'm gonna be at the stadium, and I'm trying to get there early, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know,
Ready
traffic and all of this other stuff.
Building.
But I'll probably have an escort. I'll probably get at the stadium, you know. And then when I do that, I'm just gonna roll up in there. And I just want Cowboy fans to know I'll be around if anybody wanna take pictures with me beforehand, before the loss. Because we know how y'all gonna be after you lose. You see what I'm saying? We know how they're gonna The Cowboys are averaging 5 fewer offensive points since Kellen Moore was there last year. The Chargers are averaging 5 more points than they were last year.
Common denominator.
The Chargers were 9th in offense last year. They're 3rd now. They were 13th in scoring. They're 5th now. You got Justin Herbert. He's 5th in passing yards per game this season, 3rd in completion at 71%. I think the Chargers offense is going to do their thing. The question is, if Bosa is not there, are you going to be able to put some pressure on Dak Prescott where he's going to get a little bit rattled and resemble his performance against San Francisco? I don't think he's going to throw 3 interceptions. He's going to throw one. He's going to throw one. But I don't think he's going to throw like 3 interceptions tonight. I don't think he's going to be that bad. I think Dallas's offense will put up some points. I think it end up being a shootout. I'm looking at the Chargers and the Cowboys both scoring over 25 in this game.
All right, Shannon, let me ask you this. How important is tonight's game for Dallas?
It's very important because, like you said, look, the Eagles lost. So now you want to hold serve. I mean, you'll only remain 2 games behind them because there's a chance that you're going to come. You still face them twice in the regular season. So, but you don't want to fall any further behind. We want to stay right where we are, and we need to get this nasty taste out of our mouth. We need to show that we can go on the road and play good teams and win. Went on the road against Arizona, you got the doors blown off you. You going on the road against the 49ers, you got the doors blown off you. And you playing an offense that's prolific in nature. Eckler's back. You still have Keenan Allen. You have Palmer. You have guys that can put the ball. They can put the ball up and they can put points on the board. This is a Kellen Moore game. We saw with the Jets. They said we're gonna do this for Nathaniel Hackett. I guarantee you, they're rallying around Kellen Moore because they feel like he was unfairly blamed for Dak's shortcomings in the playoffs. They don't blame that man after Dak been throwing them interceptions left and right.
Well, here's the deal. If you're gonna rally around Kellen Moore, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, don't you need to rally around Mike McCarthy? Because he volunteered to be calling these plays. He volunteered to revisit the role that he once played in Green Bay, and Jerry Jones handed him the reins. So I take that into consideration as well. But here's the biggest point that I would say to both of y'all that I think is incredibly important. No shade, no playing around. When you get beat the way they got beat last week by San Francisco, when you turn around and the day before you have a Monday night nationally televised game, you watch both San Francisco and your divisional nemesis in the Philadelphia Eagles both lose games and both appear suspect offensively. This is not just an opportunity for you to gain ground in the standings. This is an opportunity for you to recapture emotionally what you may have lost, because these are obviously the 2 teams in a lot of people's eyes, even though I throw the Detroit Lions in there, you're going to have to fight, in all likelihood, face one if not both of these guys.
Yeah,
and so, to me, if you're the Cowboys, this is a perfect opportunity to uplift yourself. If you follow up San Francisco and Philadelphia losing by turning around and losing yourself the next night against the worst defense in the National Football League, or one of the worst in the Los Angeles Chargers, I don't know what to say about you.
If the Cowboys lose tonight, they risk losing 4 in a row. They got whooped by San Francisco. If they lose tonight, their next 2 games are the Rams, absolutely can lose that game, and then they play Philadelphia. They could lose for a month straight. This game is huge tonight for the Dallas Cowboys. Not only because they got a win and the risk of what I just said, think about it this way, to Shannon's point. The 3 games that this defense has had to play without Trayvon Diggs, they gave up in 2 of them 28 and 42. Now, one game they gave up 3 against New England. New England's offense is
anemic,
terrible right now.
Pedestrian.
So it's not. That's not something that we're gonna put as a ring in our kind of belt. So they've given up 33 or something a game in those 2 losses essentially without Trayvon Diggs. Defensively, who are you without him? We got to see this defense be what we saw for the first 3 or 4 weeks this season. I don't think Leighton and Van Der Esch is going to play as well. So I want to see how this defense plays. Second thing, and Shannon, you kind of hinted towards this a little bit. This defense for the Chargers has given up this year 36, 27, 24, and 17. 17 was their worst output versus the Raiders. And the Raiders' offense has not been playing well this year. Dallas offensively, coming off of a game where you played awful, you should be able to have some success against the Chargers defense that has underperformed this year. Dude, if they lose tonight, I truly believe they risk losing 4 in a row in the heart of that schedule.
And what it comes down to, can they throw the ball? Because that's where the Chargers are vulnerable throwing the football, and we haven't seen Dak do that consistently enough. But the one thing that you're going to have to do to beat the Chargers, when you get that ball into the red zone, and this is something that the Cowboys hadn't been good at this year, is scoring touchdowns and not settling for field goals. You kick field goals, you lose games. You score touchdowns, you win games with the potential of going on further down the road. So that's going to be very interesting because the Cowboys have a very, very poor red zone offense. They didn't have that with Kellen Moore. No. That's all I'm going to say. I ain't saying Kellen Moore is the second coming of Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay. But I will say this. He had the Cowboys, when they got into the red zone more times than not, they got the ball into the end zone. And that is not the case this year.
You realize that this month of October, I wasn't aware that it was December. I thought Christmas was in December. Dan Orvlovsky just told me there's a possibility that Cowboy fans could go a whole month without winning a game.
I might not win a game till like November.
Is that possible? I mean,
possible.
wow. I mean, you know.
Think about it this way, guys. Think about it this way, Stephen A. They lose tonight. There's 2 5-1 teams in the NFC, right? San Francisco and Philadelphia. And then there's 3 5. So then there's 3 and 3, 3 and 3, 3 and 3. They lose tonight. The conversation of like, hey, we got to fight for a playoff spot a third of the way through the season or so absolutely becomes real. Absolutely becomes real.